Well, as this unmistakable music indicates, yes, Rick Barnes being wooed by UCLA. But maybe that isn't the most appropriate Randy Newman song to play. April 8th, 2019, where I told you the bad news years ago, on the theme of opening day, my favorite baseball movie actually hit the theaters 30 years ago today.
There's a red moon rising on the Cuyahoga River.
The guy that does the Allstate commercial, and Lou Brown, Willie Mays Hayes, Wesley Snipes was on that, was he not? Okay, Bob Uecker, certainly. Perhaps I should have worn a Bob Uecker sport coat for our Facebook viewers here. By the way, I'm Marky Billson for today. Did a $39 million profit, I believe. 39, that's why they then did two other movies with Major League, which weren't nearly as, There were, at the time, that was the feeling that was the only time you were ever going to see the Indians win. 6 years before they won the pennant. And the Indians, people in Cleveland were actually very, very upset that the movie was not filmed in Cleveland. It was filmed in Milwaukee. County Stadium kind of looked like Cleveland Stadium. It had the pub, but it was not filmed. Playoff, that sort of thing, that was sort of an old stock footage of Cleveland Stadium or something. But you still got to go to the Kid from Cleveland or something. You want to see real Cleveland Stadium type. But 30 years ago today, Major League actually hit the theaters. So it's still the only time, I think, in my lifetime I've ever seen the Indians end on a positive note. There's always something. 2 runs in a 10th. Tony Fernandez makes the error. He dropped 3 games to the Red Sox. I mean, it always. Later on today at 6:30 p.m. This game will be brought to you by the following sponsors. It'll be Irwin's favorite County Gas Utility District, Health and Home Care of Irwin, Unicoi County Insurance Agency, the Computer Guy of Irwin, Irwin Utilities, Irwin Paint and Body Shop, Clinchfield Federal Credit Union, Jones and Church Farm, and Jones Hardware. Unicoi County Tough Tribe Classic didn't have the chance to use Peyton Whitson. They will have him on the bump today. I believe he is scheduled. I don't know. Chad Gillis might out 14, including 4 in 1 inning, his last time out Monday. All right. I mentioned that the Predators, who saw this coming about 10 days ago, really? This was big on Saturday night. A 5-2 victory against the Chicago Blackhawks. He had to win. Guess what? They did. And we might be able to give you some highlights of this if the world's slowest computer will help play the Dallas Stars. Good goaltending series, actually, coming up between the Preds and the Stars this week. In fact, the NHL playoff schedule has been set. And so we try to give you this here. By the way, I should point this out. We're talking about who UCLA, if they'll hire Rick Barnes. The Florida Panthers, who fired their coach, they have replaced they've hired Joe Quenneville, and he's won the Stanley Cup, 3 times, replacing Bob Bogner, who was fired on Sunday when the Panthers missed the Stanley Cup playoffs. And if you're not familiar, Quenneville is the second winningest coach in NHL history, and he got champion. Anyway, do we have here we go. All right. Now we have the highlights here, and the amazing thing is that the Predators started, and it looked like, oh no, this season they're going to blow it again. They're going to have to conference foes to try to play for the conference final. But then, down 2-0 on Saturday, Dante Fabro, of all people, comes through.
Fabro out at the right.
And then the Predators tied it up, Philip Forsberg, making it relatively easy at 2-2.
Back to Grunland it comes. Power player running down. Grunland fan trying to make a pass. Power play.
Okay. Now there's something brewing. Preds have the momentum, and then on Saturday night, this was pretty much the division winner, courtesy Victor Arvidsson.
Predators on the power play. And now PK Subban handling the puck, comes up to the line. The Predators have a 3-2 lead, and they have their all-time single-season goal-scoring leader, Victor Arvidsson, with his 34th.
I still don't know what it means that the Preds have never had a 40-goal, best stat in the world, but all right, Arvidsson sets a club record with 34. And it basically wins the conference for him. It is the the division for him. It is the game winner. And then Colton Sissons really salted it away.
Puck is played back to Duncan Keith. Over for Kane. Quick shot, broken up. Puck is taken by Bonino. Here is Sissons. Sissons shoots, he scores! There goes Brent Peterson right down the Wendy's.
Well, I'd taken it also after Keith handled the puck before, because he's one of the best blue liners in the NHL, of course. I mean, that's why the Blackhawks won 3, Stanley Cups. Let's face it. All right. And then Nick Bonio. In a season of up and down and what's going to happen next, and are they really cup contenders, Nick Bonio says yes.
Jonathan Taves to the right side, Gustafsson. Now Keith on the left. Back to Gustafsson. Tried a shot as the stick was gotten on by Bonino. Here comes Bonino back on. He scores! Nick Bonino! He beats Cam Ward to the glove side, and the Predators have their 5th of the night.
5-2, that's the final. By that time, you knew that the Predators were going to win the division. Like I said, they will play Dallas. They have the home ice. This will begin 9:30 Eastern time. Incidentally, on Wednesday is when the playoffs will begin. You'll be They had hockey and they had pro wrestling. That was a while back. That was in the 80s or so. And they also used to get the team announcer. So in other words, they would get, instead of like Doc Emmerich calling every game, they would get, Mike Lang from the Penguins. And he'd call, that sort of thing. Which was something from like the old days of sportscasting, when the World Series might be not necessarily a network broadcaster, but they'd invite the broadcasters of the two teams playing, and maybe they'd sit in with Kurt Gowdy or something like that. I mean, that's a long time ago. But yeah, once upon a time, the ending of about the early 70s or so, that's the way it was done. Also, I believe that instead of rotating the announcers due to the weight of the game, so you always had an A team, a B team, they might not call it, say, as a home. I forgive my knowledge. Scott is the most famous of the TV announcers associated with a single team, but he was not the official Packers broadcaster. I presume Milwaukee as well. Anyway, so the old days and all that, it'd be a little bit more modern when the Stars go to Washington. I'll take Boston, Washington, Colorado at Calgary. I'll take Calgary. They're having a fine season, and those are the playoff matchups in the NHL, and they'll start up on Wednesday and on Thursday. We haven't even gotten it tonight. They're going to crown a national champ, and I think one of the reasons why is it just seems like it's a blah national title game. Texas Tech and Virginia, at least it looks like the coaches are going to stay where they're at in Beard and Bennett. But we might get to that. There's a column in Yahoo that was written about the lackluster feel of the game. But before we get to that, it was race week in Bristol, and an exciting race. Kurt Busch beats his brother, a race only a mother could. 1420 WEMB Sports Radio.
EMB Sports Radio Irwin.